Hello, welcome back to the second episode of this little Redstone series. In the last episode, we discussed some Boolean logic, how Boolean works. So once again, as a quick reminder, Boolean just means base 2. Instead of there being 10 possibilities for numbers 0 through 9, there is now only 2 possibilities. There is 0, which we call off, and 1, which we can call on. And so we're going to today discuss some of the very basic components and then some other ones of the Redstone that we'll be using as we develop our systems. We will use some different techniques. However, these are the very basics. So as you can see, this is Redstone dust. It can be turned on and off by various power sources, as shown right here. It is important to note that it extends 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 blocks. So you can see it powers right here, and you can see its power visibly becomes smaller. It is just as powerful here as there. However, this one right here, because it's 16, the redstone pulse ends, and it cannot give power 16 blocks away. Now we can renew this power in a couple different ways. We can give it power over here, or we can use what is called a repeater. Now a repeater has the power to extend a pulse. So you can see that we can extend the pulse. It'll power the repeater, and this repeater acts as a lever right here. However, it only goes in this one direction. You can see the little arrow, so it'll go another 15 blocks right here. You can delay the repeater. So what I can do is if I set a repeater right here, and we'll change it to a button will hold the power very briefly and then turn it back off, whereas a lever, as we showed earlier, is a full power. So you can see this one right here, short, super fast, extends it. However, you can give it different pulses, and you can see how it takes a little bit longer. And so there are 1, 2, 3, 4 different settings that we can do that. And we can add repeaters in a row, and we can make it so that it takes a super long time to actually extend the pulse. So that's how the repeater works. Now the repeater will power the block in front of it, as shown. The next one that we can use is a lamp. We can use this just to show if something's working. It'll be on while it's given power, and it'll turn off. The redstone block will emit power on all sides. However, it will not emit power through a block like this. You can see if I do this, it will not emit power through a block. However, anything that touches it will get that power. And it's important to note is not the diagonals. Next, let us look at the torch. The torch, same idea. It'll do 4 sides. However, it will power the block that is above it. Okay, so I can power the block, and the redstone on top of it will be turned on. However, if you remember here, since the redstone block does not power this block, it does not do that. It's important to note, though, that a repeater will not power the block next to it, and so it will not power that block here. When a block is powered, just like this, all sides of the block can be given power. All sides of it can be given, will be given power, and signal can be sent out through it like this. When you're sending signal cannot travel through certain types of blocks. We'll go over those as we need them. One example of this is glowstone. It cannot travel through something like concrete, but it can through glowstone. And so there are just different types that we'll learn about and remember. What that means is that because it powers this block, while it cannot power right here, it does power, this block is powered right here, which will power the block next to it. However, if that block is there, it does not power here. So we can look at that again. Same thing with a repeater. A repeater will power a block, and so pulse can travel through, on top, and next to it, just like that. One thing to note is that the redstone torch is not movable, as we'll see soon, whereas the block is movable. So now let's go ahead and let's move on to some of the more intermediate types of redstone. Okay, let's take a look at some other blocks now. So the blocks I want to look at are the piston, sticky piston, comparator, dispenser, observer, and slime block. So slime block is not a redstone block, however, it is extremely useful. Let's look at the piston first. The piston, when it's on, will push forward, and when it's off, will retract. And so what we can do is we can actually push a block and retract, and it'll pull back. The sticky piston has a limit of 12 blocks, so we can do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And you can see it can push these blocks. However, if we add a 13, it cannot do that, and so it will not push. And that is the piston. That is when it's given power. The sticky piston, on the other hand, will push the block, but then pull the one that it's connected to back. So you can see it'll push it. It'll only pull this one, because that's the only one it's connected to. Now we can do something special with slime blocks. Slime blocks actually have the same exact power, the same ability rather, as sticky pistons. So a slime block will also pull what it's touching. You can see right here, it'll pull the sandstone that's touching. This one will pull this one, this one, this one, which will eventually pull that one. Same thing, sticky piston, this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, if I counted correctly. It'll pull, and you see that this one doesn't get pulled back because the sandstone isn't a slime block, and so it can't pull it. However, if I go right here to the end, let's see where we're at for push limit. You can see it pulls that back. And same thing, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That should be 12. Push, pull, fine. However, if we add another one, it is no longer capable. So that's the piston and the sticky piston. Let's look at the dispenser next. The dispenser is quite simple. If we place some blocks in here, when it receives power, it will spew out the block that it receives. If we place different types, it will spew a random one. So it might do redstone, sand, sand, sand. It'll spew random ones, just like that. And so that is the dispenser. Quite simple to go over right now. However, it has many applications. Now let's look at the observer. The observer will send a redstone pulse whenever it sees a block change in front of it. So I have a redstone pulse right here. For example, if I place a block right here, it'll send a pulse because it saw something happen. Same thing, saw something happen. It does not see 2 blocks in front. It only sees the very block in front of it. Once again, so pulse, pulse right there. And you notice that this pulse is very, very short compared to like a button, which gives a very long pulse right here. So that is a very useful thing that we can do for the observer. Let's talk about the hopper next. The hopper is a way to transport items. So if I have a hopper pointing down right here, and I put it in there, you can see it is slowly putting the items into that chest. Hoppers will go into each other. They can load up a chest from any side that they are facing, so the 4 sides and down. Because a hopper cannot go upside down, you can see the direction it faces based on where it kind of funnels. You see I can't place it upside down, so it can't do that. But you can see this one right here, they all funnel in to the chest like that, and so you can see they'll push. They can go through multiple hoppers, so a hopper can go one into the next, into the chest, just like that. And just like that, we have covered the very basics of these redstone. We will get into some transportation redstone later. We can talk about pressure plates. Let's do a comparator really fast, actually. Comparator is a little complicated. A comparator will give a pulse depending on how strong the signal it receives is. So for example, my signal right here, it'll give a power of 15, because remember how we saw earlier, if this is 15 long, we can see the power level slowly going down. It's on, but the power level is going down 15 to 1. It receives a 15, and so it's going to emit a 15, just like that. If, however, it receives, if it receives a let's see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to receive a thing in 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry, 10 because it emits just from that one. Emits 1 going forward. And so just like that. Now the comparator also has a subtract mode. So you can turn subtract mode by flipping that on. You'll see nothing happens at first. However, if we have a redstone line right here, and we give it power, like this, it'll subtract. This is our bigger number, so subtract the bigger number from the side, and you see this one only emits a thing of 4, because this is 3, 6, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so you can do the subtraction, and then it only emits the 4. Now, if this is more powerful, it won't even emit anything, because this pulse is stronger than the back pulse. The back is the one being subtracted from, and so if this number is negative right now, this is a 6 minus 14, which is negative 8, it won't go forward at all. So that's how the comparator works, and it does do the same from both sides. You can see it does that. And so just like that, we have covered most of the basics of these redstone components. Now they have their niches, their uses that we'll cover as we go forward, but this is just the basic properties of them.